Hey ladies, how is everyone? I am just getting hooked up here. I'm going to go in the group. Um, if you're tuning in for the first time, say hi. I missed you guys. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I am at a new setting. I'm on my laptop today, so it's going to look a little bit different until I can transfer the rest of my equipment up here. But say hi. Um, and let me know where you are from. I'm excited to do this training tonight because I see so many of you pricing too low. I'm going to be checking in and taking a look at my phone so I can see everyone on the live. Here I am. So I am live. So one comment, that's my comment. So I'm going to wait a few minutes for people. I see 6 views on here. So see if I can prop my phone up here because it's too far away from me. So let me know. So say hi. Let me know where you're from. April's liking it because sometimes it lets me see all you guys in the background, and sometimes it makes me go to my phone. So I see 4 comments here. Hey Amanda. Amanda's having a bad day. It's all right. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Hi April from Dallas. Tracy, yeah, see, so it's telling me on my phone and it's not telling me on the front. So that's what I figured would happen. Oh, thank you. One of the girls, 17-year-old girls, put like these red, white, and blue for 4th of July last week. She put a braid in it. So I'm trying to keep it as long as possible. I'm trying to keep it as long as possible. I'm excited about tonight because I see this problem happening quite a bit with pricing too low, things like that. So what I'm going to do is switch back and forth so I can see your comments on my phone, and then do the training at the same time. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cheryl Hager. I founded this group, Sisters Who Scale, for cleaning business owners. I am an active maid service owner. My company is Maid Bright up here in Boston, Massachusetts. But in the summer, I'm in Seabrook, New Hampshire, which is right over the line, about 30 minutes. And so I started my company from nothing. I had no money. My son was younger. I was a single parent, for quite some time. I've done it all. I've been treated like crap. I've priced too low. I've priced too high. And I managed to, over the years, get up to over $850,000 a year in revenue. I made a lot of mistakes, and what I do is I share with you my mistakes, and then I share with you how to not make those mistakes, right? Which is what you want to do. So I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm no BS, but I give you the results you need. I go live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm over here in the Northeast, with a different training on the topic of the cleaning industry, whether it be pricing, whether it be selling, whether it be mindset, different things like that. So if you're on for the first time, say hi. Let me know where you're from. I'm going to go into this training. I have to keep refreshing to see new comments. It's just so crazy and so annoying at the same time. So with that, let me just refresh this for a second. With that being said, I am going to start. So let me ask you something. I'm going to ask you something that might sting a little bit. Okay. So how many times have you walked away from a cleaning job feeling like you just worked for free? Show of hands. How many times have you walked away from a cleaning job feeling like you just worked for free? I know you probably all have had that. I have had that myself, right? So if you're nodding your head right now, know that you're not alone. Okay? In fact, you're part of the 73% of cleaning business owners who are unknowingly sabotaging their own success with one fatal flaw, and that's poor pricing. You can underprice and you can also overprice, right? That won't get you the job. So the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you is that you can have the best cleaning skills in the world, the most reliable team, customers who absolutely love you. But if you can't price your jobs correctly, you're essentially running an expensive hobby and not a business, right? And I know that that kind of sucks to hear, but it's true. I've watched countless cleaning business owners pour their hearts and souls, their life savings into their companies only to watch them crumble because they've never mastered the art and science of proper pricing. Okay? They work 60-hour weeks, skip family dinners, sacrifice their health, right? How many people have sacrificed? Oh, you're sick, but you still want to work and cleaned, right? All while making less money than they would flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? Does this sound familiar? I get 11 comments on my screen, which means that people are agreeing with me, right? People are agreeing with me here. So let me just see here. I can't see for some reason. If I will make a comment after, because I have 15 comments and I can't even see it. Hi, Jessica. Tammy, how are you? I'm good. I invited you this morning. Okay. The cleaning industry right now is booming, okay? The market value, I don't know if you guys know this, is a value of over 330 billion globally, and it's growing at 5.1% annually. That is a big industry. That's going to show no signs of stopping, right? There's never been a better time to be in this business. But here's the kicker. While the industry is exploding, right? 80% of cleaning businesses fail within their first 5 years, and that's like crazy. Do you ever like wonder like your nose starts itching and then all of a sudden it's like itching? It's like driving me crazy. So if I'm doing that, I apologize. So what's the number one reason why that happens? Improper pricing. People don't know how to price. Most of the time it's pricing too low. So here's what gets me like really fired up about that is that the solution is hiding in plain sight. So the cleaning business owner who figures out proper pricing for their market, because remember, every market's going to be different. I'm in the Northeast. My prices are going to be higher than Texas, for one example, right? Higher than Florida. Maybe Texas's would be, like one of the lowest price per hour or whatever. So, but the ones that figure it out in their market, they're crushing it, right? They're crushing it because they're building their six-figure businesses that they wanted. They're building their seven-figure businesses. They're taking vacations without worrying about cash flow, and they're creating generational wealth. Here's the question. Which group are you going to be in? Are you going to be in the people taking vacations and creating generational wealth? Or are you going to be in the ones that are living paycheck to paycheck and you wake up one day and you think you feel like you can't afford to pay payroll. You can't afford to pay payroll because you don't have the right systems in place. Because if you go out and get a job and you price it correctly and you put a staff in there and you have the staff trained correctly, you're making a profit. If you're not making a profit, you're doing something wrong, right? It's fair to say, right? So there's a domino effect of this thing. So let's talk about what happens when you price wrong. I want to see if I can see you guys on the back. No, I can't see it on the back. I can only see you on my phone. I hate when that happens, and because I have to redo this. It's like so annoying. Hey Kelly and Victoria, I see you so many times, Tammy. No, I understand. Yes, underpricing. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about a girl that I work with by the name of Sarah. Her residential business she started 3 years ago. All the enthusiasm in the world. All of us have started our businesses with all the enthusiasm in the world, right? She had great references, great supplies, great vacuums, right? And a work ethic that would make your grandmother proud. But she made one mistake that cost her pretty much everything. She priced jobs based on what she thought people would pay or could afford, not what her services were actually worth. So we started working together. Fast forward to 18 months. She was charging $110 roughly. 6 houses, 6 days a week, right? After supplies, gas, insurance, equipment, taxes, equipment replacement. She was taking home about $25,000 a year. That is not enough, okay? Less than minimum wage. She was working twice as many hours as a full-time employee. That is not acceptable, but it gets worse. So Sarah was cheap. Okay, I'm just going to say that word because I know some of you like to try and cut costs a little too much. Sarah was cheap. So what happened is she attracted the worst kind of customers, the ones that nitpicked every single corner, right? Demanded extra services for free and treated her like she was disposable, right? Her stress levels skyrocketed, her marriage suffered, and she eventually had to close her business and go to work full time for someone else, right? So Sarah isn't alone. I see this tragedy play out every single day, right? Every single day. So here's what improper pricing really costs you. And if you guys want to write this down, by all means, you can. Number one, physical health. When you're underpriced, you compensate working longer hours and cutting corners on help, right? Staff. Your body becomes your business's biggest liability. How many of you are tired at the end of your day? And if I can't see this, hi Christina. If I can't see this on here, I will answer you after. How many of you are tired at the end of the day? I know some of you are. Right? I know some of you are. Your physical health. Number two, it costs you your mental health. Financial stress, waking you up in the middle of the night. Difficult customers are attracted to low prices, okay? And when you have low prices, that feeling of being trapped creates anxiety and depression in your mind that no amount of positive thinking can fix. If you're underpricing, you all know you're underpricing, right? That's the thing. So your future, every underpriced job, it's a step backwards. You're not building wealth, you're depleting it. You're not creating options, you're eliminating your options, right? And I want you guys to write this down, plaster it wherever, put it in your car, your bathroom, or whatever. Cheap prices attract cheap customers. Cheap prices attract cheap customers who become your worst advertisements, right? They become your worst advertisements. You don't want them to tell their cheap friends, right? But so they also are picky sometimes. Cheap people are picky. They want you to do everything for free. Oh, while you're here, can you clean that oven for me? You should turn around and say, I most certainly can, but there's an upcharge of $50. Would you still like me to do it? Right? Now you take control of the conversation, right? But the worst part is this isn't just costing you money, it's stealing your future of growing a cleaning business, right? Growing a cleaning business. So sometimes underpricing is invisible, and I'm going to tell you why. So it doesn't just hurt your bank account, it actually traps you in a cycle that becomes harder and harder to escape. So it's almost like quicksand for business owners, right? So you create what I call the poverty trap when you underprice continually. And here's how it works. So you, like I said, your low prices attract high maintenance customers almost all the time, right? Bargain hunters aren't just looking for deals, they're looking for someone to take advantage of. They're looking to see if they can get a deal, right? If this isn't coupon extreming 101, they're looking to see if they can get a deal. They're the ones that leave messages for you at 9 p.m. demanding you come back because they found a speck of dust on a coffee table, right? They're the ones that want you to clean the oven for free, clean the refrigerator for free, hand wash the baseboards while you're there, sweep out the garage while you're there. How many times have you heard, can you sweep out the garage for me, right? Totally. I've heard that before. I'm checking to see who's on. Every day. April says, every day I'm hurting. Right, exactly. Totally. So here's another thing that happens. When you underprice, you can't afford good tools, good vacuums, right? Things that are going to last. You buy stuff that breaks all the time, right? You can't hire good staff, right? So when every dollar counts for survival, you can invest in better equipment, quality supplies, reliable employees. This makes your job harder to do, okay? You become desperate. Your complaints increase, your stress mounts. You become desperate to keep clients that you don't want. Amanda Ellis, if you are on the call, do you feel that you feel like you're desperate and you want to keep your 90-year-old client on the schedule even though she's just driving you completely mental? I want to know that answer to that, right? I want to know that answer. You will have a tendency to keep clients that are toxic because you've created this poverty trap mindset that you don't even know that you've done this, right? Um, Now you get cheap people on your schedule. Now you can't raise the prices because they don't understand that your costs go up, right? They don't understand that. They just see their wallet. They don't see that gas goes up, vacuums go up, the cost of vacuum bags goes up, cleaning materials. They don't really care. They just want to look, they just want to get a deal, right? And so you can't work like that. Also, when you price cheap, you get the reputation as being the cheap cleaner. Oh, so and so charges $50 less. I'm going to go over to them. So your entire client base chose you because of your prices. You don't want to be known for the cheapest cleaner, right? Does this make sense? If you try and raise rates, they'll leave and you're trapped, right? So here's the thing. You develop what psychologists call learned helplessness. So you start believing that low prices are just the way things are, right? In the cleaning business, and you don't try and raise them, you keep them. You just accept that reality. But you need to understand that this isn't happening to you because the market demands low prices. This is happening to you because you haven't learned how to price correctly, right? Does this make sense? So the cleaning business owners who break free from this trap don't just make more money. My nose is like so itchy, it's crazy. They don't just make more money, right? They completely transform their lives. They work fewer hours, serve better customers, and they build real wealth, right? The question is, how much longer are you going to stay trapped, right? I'm going to see it is anyone new jumping on here. I'm going to jump on and just say hi. I see 19 comments, so I see more comments coming on here, but I just can't see them. I just can't see them for some reason. Yeah, it's so annoying. Victoria. Hi, Belinda. We fired a client over sweeping up their garbage or garage. Did you mean to say garage, Victoria? So let's talk about inflation, right? Everything costs more now. Like I said, supplies, gas, insurance, labor. It's all up 20 to 30% probably, right? From 20 years ago. We all know that. We all know that. And customers, some customers understand this, some customers don't, right? The good ones understand this, right? So if you're still charging 2019 prices, you're leaving money on the table, right? So let's talk about what proper pricing gets you. Number one, if you learn how to price correctly, it gets you better customers. I have found in my experience that high prices or higher prices attract customers who value you over cheap shortcuts, right? They treat you with respect, they pay on time, and they refer their friends. They refer their friends. Better customers is what you want. Number two, you get predictable income. So when you price correctly, you can plan your finances, take your vacations, sleep at night without worrying about paying rent, right? Growth opportunities. Your proper margins give you the cash flow to invest in better equipment, better marketing, better staff, right? Is this making sense? And then an exit strategy. Do you want to be cleaning when you're 75? I don't, right? I don't want to be cleaning when I'm 75. Not at all. You have to think of building your business to sell one day. So if you price too low, no one's going to want to buy your company because your prices are too low, right? So you want to have your prices correct in where they need to be, because here's the urgency. The opportunity window is closing faster than most business owners realize, right? So let's talk about the 3 deadly pricing mistakes. What are people doing? What are people doing, okay? I've worked with hundreds of cleaning business owners, and I've identified these 3 pricing mistakes. And statistically, you're probably making one or more of the following, and your business could be in danger and you don't even know it. Okay, deadly mistake number 1. The guess and hope method, right? This is when you pull out a number out of thin air based on what you think may sound reasonable, or maybe what you heard someone else charges on a podcast, but not doing any market research. Every state's going to be different in this country. We got 50 states. They're all priced a little bit differently, right? And so you can't price like that, or you can't price thinking, oh, they can afford $110, or they say, oh, my last cleaner charged me $105. Can you do it for the same price? No, you can't, because $105 was the price probably in 2006, right? You can't price that low. Deadly mistake number 2: the lowest price wins. Trap. That's a trap, right? This is when you try and beat every competitor on price, thinking that being the cheapest is going to guarantee you more customers. Let me give you a real time example. Pop-up cleaners say they will beat anyone's price. I actually saw this in my area a couple of months ago. It was a girl that said, I'll beat anyone's price, and on a Facebook group in a thread, and I wrote to her and I said, why are you going to beat anyone's price? How sad for you, right? She doesn't value herself. She doesn't value herself, her skills, anything like that. And I said, don't do that. I go, you're undervaluing yourself, your skills, your time, your physical labor. I go, and you're doing the whole industry a disservice, right? We all have to stick together and price correctly, right? You're not just, when you go and price correctly in your area and your customers, you're not just doing something for yourself, you're doing something for the next cleaning business owner an hour away. So if we all band together and price appropriately for our area, these people that think they're going to get 1985 prices are going to realize that they can't hire anyone, right? And so that's going to uplift the industry as a whole. Does that make sense? Right, exactly. We all kind of got to stick together here, right? So I feel bad for pop-up cleaners that are charging $85, $90. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that. You're worth more. Your skills are worth more. You're doing something that people don't want to do themselves. There's a value on that. There's a price on that, okay? And deadly mistake number 3, the cover my cost fallacy. This is when you calculate your basic costs and add a tiny markup, thinking that as long as you're not losing money, you're doing okay. So this mistake creates a downward spiral, because once you underprice, it becomes harder and harder to raise prices. You can't raise a $50. You can't go up $50. You're going to lose the person, right? You have to go up in increments. You're going to do this over time, okay? You get trapped in this cycle of poverty pricing, okay? And like I said before, cheap prices attract bargain hunters who will never, ever, ever be satisfied, right? And they will never pay premium rates for premium service. They won't. They prevent growth. Without your proper margins, you don't have the cash flow to grow. You can't invest in marketing. You can't invest in new equipment or staff. Your business stays small. Your business stays vulnerable. Your business stays you cleaning. And if you stop cleaning, you don't have a business. Guess what? When you're solo cleaning, you don't have a business anyways. You're self-employed. And there's a difference. When you have a business, you have employees, you have payroll, you have insurances and things like that, right? Two very different things. So let's talk about what can change you. Does this all making sense? I'm just gonna refresh this and see who's on here. Is this all making sense here? Hey, Iker, how are you? Yep, 100%, 100%. So let's talk about what I do and what I teach to help you break free from that cheap pricing. If you want to write this down, you can. It's called value-based pricing. So let's take a look at that and see what that looks like in action. So the cleaning businesses that dominate their markets have discovered something. It's pretty revolutionary. Customers don't buy cleaning services. They buy outcomes, emotions, and solutions to problems. Outcomes, emotions, and solutions to problems. So when you understand this psychological shift, everything's going to change for you, right? So Jennifer, I was working with her. She discovered when she transformed her standard move-in clean from a $200 service into her fresh start package, which is what she called it, for $485. She didn't change a single cleaning task at all, and she more than doubled her price. It's the way she positioned the package, right? So she repositioned her service as a peace of mind for new homeowners, stress relief during a chaotic time, the foundation for a beautiful beginning. She completely rebranded this, right? So now the customer, her customer, is buying excitement, confidence. They're excited about moving into the new home. It's a fresh space. Same work, same time investment, but 142% more revenue per job, right? That's value. That's a small glimpse into what value-based pricing is. Your number two is brand positioning, one of my favorite things. So brand positioning is the art of controlling how customers perceive your business before they even meet you. It is the difference between competing on price and commanding premium rates. It's not about what you do, but it's about what outcome you deliver and who you serve. So when you position your brand, your business correctly, you stop being a commodity competing on price. It stinks to compete on price. It doesn't feel good to compete on price, right? Busy executives, for example, they don't want cleaning. They want more time with their families. So when your brand speaks to psychological drivers like this, instead of promising clean spaces, right? Customers are willing to pay 2 to 3 more because they're buying a transformation, right? If I see one more ChatGPT driven post, we love giving you a clean space. We love shining and sparkling. I'm going to hang myself. That's going to be another training, because the problem, and this is a sidebar, the problem with AI is that it's making all businesses look the same. Wow, that's another training for another day. But the cleaning business that masters this brand positioning never has to justify their prices, okay? Because their positioning pre-sells the value before the sales conversation even begins. It attracts customers who expect to pay a premium because of what their brand looks like, right? So you create a business where price objections completely disappear, profit margins soar, and your business name and your positioning either elevate your prices or destroy them. I teach a lot of this in my Drop the Mop class. It's one of the biggest things I do. I can tell you that I did it with my own business. I've helped hundreds of cleaning business owners do this with their own, creating that value positioning and that brand, that ultimate brand that speaks before you even get to the door, is what is going to sell you and is what is going to have potential clients expect that you're going to be priced higher. We just did a $1,200 deep clean for someone. He was moving out. He's listing with the most prominent realtor in my area. Everyone knows her. She's like super famous. She had a few people on her list of cleaning companies they've used before. He went to Google. He found us. He picked us. I had the quote approved within 24 hours. I guarantee I was probably the highest priced one, or pretty close. And he just said he bought. He decided to go with us because of the marketing and the brand positioning online. And then, obviously, of course, I do the estimate, I seal the deal or whatever. And he just gave me probably the biggest compliment of my life yesterday when we finished the deep clean and I went to do the walkthrough, because I do the walkthroughs on the big jobs for my staff. And he said, my husband power washes, so you all know, if you know Jay, he power washed the house too. And he says, I gotta tell you, you and your husband are hustlers. He's like, you run a really good job. Your staff was so nice. The guy tipped $179. Like, that was a great tip. My girls were thrilled. And so that's what that does. That is it. Like, in clear action, this guy didn't bat an eye, didn't compete on price. I got the job. We nailed it. My staff is super happy. We get a great review. Everything is great. That's how that works. That's what I teach you what to do. Moving on. Number 3, your reliability and consistency will create waiting lists for you. This is very important because there are a lot of service providers who constantly disappoint customers with delays, cancellations, inconsistency, reliability. It's okay to have a little bit of that. That's just going to happen because you're dealing with large amounts of people. When you have a lot of staff and a lot of houses, there's bound to be stuff that happens, but you have to minimize that as best as possible. So smart cleaning business owners have turned to dependability in their, as their most profitable service feature. I don't mean getting walked on, but I mean doing the best job you can. I'm going to tell you that most pop-up cleaners epic fail this every single time, right? Why? They don't have the systems to make these things realities, and that's good for you if you have the systems in place. So there's a psychology behind premium pricing success, right? So what all these demonstrate is a fundamental truth about human psychology. People don't buy based on cost, they buy based on value perception, right? They buy based on value perception. So when you position your cleaning services as a solution to their deeper problems, their stress, their time scarcity, your professional image, the uncertainty of all of that, pricing becomes secondary, right? It becomes secondary to them, right? So the critical point is this: these strategies only work when implemented correctly. So with the right messaging, the right brand positioning, and the right delivery systems, you can have this too, okay? You can have this too. So let's talk about what your life could look like in 6 to 8 months if you master proper pricing. So this isn't just fantasy, this is reality, right? Hundreds of cleaning business owners, thousands of cleaning business owners are living this right now. So you're not desperately chasing every lead. You're qualifying them. That's a big thing, ladies and gentlemen. You're qualifying them to make sure they're a good fit for your premium services. Some people aren't a good fit for you. That is okay. I know everyone, we're all people pleasers. We're cleaners. We like to clean, make people happy, the transformation, the cleaning service, but not everyone is your ideal client, and you have to be okay with that. You need to learn how to be okay with that, right? You want clients that respect you. You want clients that pay on time and refer their friends, right? You don't want people to nickel and dime you over every detail because they hired you for quality, not price. So when you mention that you're booking 3 weeks out, they just ask how they can get on your schedule. Because when you have an urgency, when you have a wait list, this changes the game for you, right? This changes the game for you. But so right now what's happening, okay, is customers are conditioned right now a little bit to expect higher prices. Because why? Because why? This is coming up in one of my trainings. Because why? Because of the labor shortages we are about to experience with what's going on in the industry and in the country, right? In the US, we have some things changing that are going to create some labor shortages. If they already haven't started to happen in your area, they're going to, right? So now people are going to be at a crossroad, customers, where they're going to have to pay more for your services because all the cheaper cleaners are going away, right? But eventually the market will normalize, eventually competition will increase, and eventually opportunities close, right? So here's the question that will define the next chapter of your life. What are you going to do about it? You got a few options. You always have options. Option 1, do nothing. You can close this training, go back to your current pricing, and hope somehow things get better on their own, right? You can tell yourself that proper pricing is too complicated and you're nervous about it and you don't want to do it, or that your market is different, or that you'll figure it out eventually, or that it will change on its own. That's option 1. Option 2, you can try and figure it out, right, by yourself, alone. You keep experimenting with different prices, hoping to stumble onto the right strategy. Keep reading random articles, watching free videos, try and piece everything together, right? A pricing system with scattered information here, there, and everywhere on this podcast, on that thing, or whatever. You know what I mean? Or option three, just get serious about your success, right? You can recognize that pricing is a skill that must be learned. Okay, you weren't born to know how to do this, right? Just like any other professional skill, you can invest in proper training, implement proven strategies, and transform, right? Transform. Who wants to transform? If anybody wants to transform their business, type transform, right? If you think after listening to this training that you're not charging enough, because that's usually, some people charge overpriced, but there's more people charging way under, right? So if you think you're charging less, we should have a chat. If you feel like you can hardly pay the bills, let alone try and hire, then we should also have a chat, right? This is 100% directly revolved around your current pricing and possibly the lack of staff and systems you have in place, right? Or lack of any systems at all. So owners I've worked with that have graduated from my drop them up in skill, they've increased their revenues. They've doubled, tripled. I get some people now approaching quadrupling their revenues in a 12 to 18 month time, some even less. They've raised their prices. They've attracted high paying clients. They've completely overhauled their brands and they created new and more powerful brands, right? They've learned how to create value based pricing instead of service based pricing, right? Which is two different things. People pay for their higher paying services gladly and no longer haggle on price, right? No longer haggle on price. I have a couple spots that just opened up in the Drop Them Up group program on Thursday nights. There's two people just graduated and they're moving on to the graduate program. So if you interested in hearing more, if you've had enough of this shit with the low pricing, right, and you want to get some real help and you want to make some real changes, type Drop Them Up or DM me. You can find me on Facebook. What we do is we set up a strategy call, what I call a strategy call, on Zoom. I ask you a bunch of questions and just see if what I do is a good fit for you, right? No pressure, no pressure. Does anyone have any questions? I don't know if I can see them on here. If I can, I'll answer after. Um, Garage, yeah. I want to do a garage, right? It's ridiculous. Iker just got a great feedback from a realtor company. They were very pleased with our jobs. We have been cleaning for them. He mentioned they've tried several companies. That's good. There's a lot of crappy cleaners out there. Transform. Let's go. Belinda is a world renowned power lifter. She's won all kinds of awards and she's won all kinds of meets and stuff. She's a badass. And she's moving to the East Coast from Washington. So maybe next year I get to meet her at Rise Retreat. Let me see if there's any other questions. Hi, Janet Baker. How are you? Rachel Thaxton. Rachel, we were supposed to talk a few weeks ago. What the heck happened? Iker's from Southern Cal. Very different. Me. April says me. I'm going to check them and open this up because I see 34 comments and I don't know if there's any brand new ones. I hope this was helpful for you all. If you're watching this, on replay, that by all means is fantastic. And you have any questions or anything like that, I hope this was helpful for you. I see this all the time. It's usually one of the first things I do when I work with someone is that we look at your pricing and see which clients need to come up, which clients can stay there, which clients need to come up next year, because you always want to do some sort of a raise. And by how do I say this? Most cleaning business owners think that their clients are going to quit on them, and most of the clients end up staying. So don't be afraid of raising your prices, ladies and gentlemen. Couple of announcements. I am speaking at the ZenMaid Summit September 12th at 10 a.m. Central Time. I'm talking about company culture and retaining staff and creating your cleaning business empire. Excited about that training. Excited about that one. And then I'm having my in-person Rise retreat the same time, September 10th through the 13th. So that's pretty exciting. We have a full house here, and we might be starting to book another house. Woo! So if you're interested in hearing more about that, let me know. I can tell you all about that. All right, it's been an amazing evening. I hope you all have a great one. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'm going off to have some dinner. All right, everyone. Have a great evening. See you soon.